Hello, I'm Glenyce Hughes, and I get to facilitate people around the world in creating their dreams come true. How the heck did I get so lucky? A tool to get out of the wrongness of you, my sweet friends. Stop it! I'm currently facilitating a 5-day foundation, or 5-morning foundation, we could call it. And that's just one of the themes of this foundation is the wrongness. And I know, because we've probably all played with how wrong we are. So wrong, so wrong, so wrong. And yet, we're not. There is nothing wrong about us. There's never been anything wrong about us, but it is something that most of us play with all the time, and it really does take us changing it. So a tool to stop being wrong is to recognize that whatever that judgment of wrongness of you is actually a strength. So what you want to start asking is, what is the strength here? So if you feel really wrong about how sensitive you are, this is one of mine for so much of my life, probably my entire life until I started studying the tools of access consciousness, was that I was too sensitive. People around me weren't so sensitive. I was too sensitive. And I made that so wrong. I'm so wrong. I shouldn't be so sensitive. I should be stronger, or, whatever judgment I attach to it. And let's look at that. Is that actually wrong? What if we look at the strength? What's the strength of being sensitive? I'm aware. I can connect with people. I can perceive people. I can receive. There's so much about that is a strength. That is a huge strength. But all the while I was putting my judgment into that it was wrong and I shouldn't be sensitive and I should be stronger and all of that. I couldn't receive the gifts of that sensitivity. Yeah. So look at that for yourself. And one of the ways that I would change it around in the class for one of the participants was the person was really feeling like they were very judgmental, like very, very judgmental of themselves. And so I, just in knowing this information, I looked at it and I was like, okay, so then what could be a strength of that, just, in my own world? And the strength of that I got was like, well, that's allowance. If you have a lot of judgment, if we look at the opposite of that, there's a lot of allowance with that. So I asked the person, so truth, do you have capacities with allowance that you haven't acknowledged? Yeah, it was huge. So that could, really, if we look at that, like, what are those capacities? So if you look at the thing that you're judging yourself for right now, you could ask, okay, so what are the capacities here that I haven't acknowledged? Once we acknowledge the capacities, it changes everything. It's when we don't acknowledge them as capacities that we basically use them against ourselves, which is what this person was doing with the judgment. Rather than acknowledging that they had capacities with allowance, or they could be more allowance than most people on the planet, they were then distracting themselves and making that capacity into way less, which was judgment. So really start getting present with, one, when you're in the wrongness of you, and two, either ask, what is the strength here that I'm not acknowledging, or what are the capacities here that I'm not acknowledging? Another thing that I've seen for years and years and years is people who have the biggest money things, the biggest money problems, the biggest money insanity, often are the people who have the greatest capacities with money. So once again, ask, truth, do I have capacities with money that I haven't acknowledged? Yeah. So start acknowledging what's true, acknowledging your strengths, acknowledging you are not wrong, you will never be wrong, you could never be wrong, and start utilizing those strengths for you to create what you desire on the planet. So everything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate at all times, a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, POD, shorts, boys, and beyonds. That is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. If you're not familiar, you can go to theclearingstatement.com for more information about how it works. It's freaking magical, my sweet friends. And I would love to invite you to come and visit with me. Come and chat with me. I'm doing these weekly Zooms where I basically talk to you. I ask you funny questions that will give me more of a sense of who you are, because you guys probably know me quite well. If you've been around for a while, you know all stories, you know about me. I'd love to know you. So there's a link. You can go and opt in, and you'll get an email when I'm hopping on Zoom. I chat with you 5 to 7 minutes, just one-to-one. I ask you questions so I get to know you. It can be really fun, and I would love, love, love to meet you. So you'll find the link somewhere, and yeah, have a great week, guys. I look forward to chatting again next week.